Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk Transformers Live number 3. I am joined by Ed, Thoughts of Iacon. I'm also joined by Spider-Father. We have got Paul Farrelly from Transformers The Show, who will be joining us a little bit later. So if we're just going to start with it, we've got a new intro to use that Ed has kindly done for me. I will say this might be a teensy bit loud, so you have to...
Let's talk Transformers.
And if that doesn't wake you up, nothing will. So, thank you very much, Ed, for putting that together for me. I appreciate my little love of Transformers and rock music going in there. So, gents, how are we all?
I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Recovered from TFUKCon, which was a great weekend.
It was a good weekend. Yes, it was. It's a long drive. It's 3 hours for me, whatever happens. So it's fine. I was tired, but and enjoyed tired, if you know what I mean. And it was nice to have a good long chat with you this time. We only briefly spoke, didn't we, at TF Nation before? So we had a proper catch up.
Yeah, that's the problem with TF Nation. There's so many people there. There's so many things to see, so many things to do that you end up, you're lucky if you spend 5 minutes just sat next to someone having a chat. So I did appreciate that it was a lot more laid back at TFUKCon.
Definitely. Absolutely. Okay, so what I'll do quickly is just go through the pair of you before Paul joins us. Ed, I'll start with you because we were talking about it before we came live. You're doing a lot of your photography at the moment. Do you want to just talk through that? Hey, Paul. Do you want to talk through some of the photos that you've been doing and the style you've been going for whilst I try and get some to show?
All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I was struggling recently for photography ideas. And I kind of decided to go back to the start, and I thought, right, I'll make a start and just go through my entire collection and just take photographs of the entire collection. But rather than just doing something that I'd always done, kind of like just a plain background, with the figure, which I do like. I mean, I'm not much for a diorama, basically because I just don't have the time and the patience. I mean, some of the stuff that Jamie does is spot on, and if I had the time and the patience for it. But so I just kind of like played around with just different elements in Photoshop, and I kind of decided on a style of something that maybe I'd like to see on a desktop background, that gives you so you got your figure front and center, you've got an alt mode, and then just dissolved in the back, you've got maybe just a bit of an action pose or something like that. So I started off with the Autobots, but this time I took a conscious decision not to start with Optimus Prime. I thought, no, we'll start somewhere else. And I've gone through them now, and I'm on to Decepticons. But there's a mix. There's a mix of third party, and there's a mix of Takara stuff, because that's what my collection's made up of. A mixture of both. But as the years are going on, the Takara stuff is getting smaller and smaller as third party replaces it, shall we say. But that's, as you can see on screen now, that's just the kind of thing that I'm doing and going for.
Yeah, we just got Mick in the chat as well, and I was going to ask the same question. That's the MMC ones, isn't it?
It is,
Decepticons. Yeah, I love, as I was saying before we came on air, I love the faded shots behind them, like a superimposed one. I've never been that big a fan of the Insecticons. I've always kind of felt I didn't need them in the collection, and I certainly didn't want to pay fan storage prices because some of those get crazy expensive for their Insecticons. But this seems like a good, not secondary line, but a good option to get without paying that top whack price.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I got those, the other two options were Bad Cube and Fans Toys. Well, when Fans Toys initially came out, when they first released their Insecticons, they weren't that unreasonably priced. It's just on the secondary market that they've taken off, and they've gone silly. even when they did the second issue of them, the secondary market now on those is silly. However, I mean, I don't know if Transformers: The Show chaps covered this last night because I didn't watch it all. There's, I believe, Fans Toys are rumored to be doing a third issue of their Insecticons. So
No, we
hopefully,
didn't cover that last night. There was
Yeah, I read that today. I'll be picking them up if they do.
yeah. So
So
if they're
is this
reasonable
is
price,
a rerun rather than a redesign, isn't it? Not like a 3.0. It's just a reissue. You mean?
yeah, just a reissue. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean the Mastermind Creation ones, the Malin Militia there. I do like them. The thing with me and third party is I like that kind of that bit of a distance and a gap from the cartoon aesthetic. You know, I don't want my figures to look exactly like they've just walked off the cartoon, if you will. You know, because they do. I think they look just a bit too bland. Whereas, like the Mastermind Creation stuff, they seem to find that happy balance. You know,
I mean, I've spoken to Paul a lot about this. So sometimes you get so hyper-tuned, it hurts the figure.
Yes.
And you like to
Too
have
basic.
you want to have something that still has a degree of robotness to it and a degree of stylization. But obviously, you know, when it looks like it's walked off the TV screen, one, it looks great that you've been able to capture that, but don't make it like completely smooth. There's no definition. And I picked up some figures and gone, oh, that's just it just looks like a bar of soap. It's just so smooth, too smooth.
Yeah.
We are
there
spoiled
always
choice
things.
now with the amount of figures that have come out for specific characters. I remember the early noughties where we would have killed for a G1, a new version of a G1 character, and now we've got a glut, not just from Hasbro and Takara, but from all the third-party people who've been doing them. So we haven't actually got choice because everyone's doing that toon aesthetic. We haven't got anyone who's reimagining them into this, that, or the other.
Yeah, that's why I like seeing things like I go on a lot about Kang Toys. We're doing their Predacons and Dinobots at the moment, and even Iron Factory, to which I'm not a Legends collector, and they're doing their samurai styles. It's something completely fresh. It's something I like the look of the Iron Factory stuff. I think some of it looks really smart, because otherwise it's just the same figure from different companies. So it's refreshing when another company comes on and does something a bit different.
They do it IDW stylized, don't they? Iron Factory, which they were kind of one of the first ones to do there. I thought that looked really cool. Ed, your photos I always forget it's you doing it, and it will come up on my newsfeed. I'll be like, product shot. Oh, what's this coming out? And it's like, oh no, it's a photo by you. You've
it does look like a product shot, doesn't it?
They do. It just looks like a brilliant photo with a brilliant advert for a new Transformer, and I'm like,
thank you.
sure
I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I do what I do. But
is that Photoshop you do it on, or?
Yes, yeah. I take I've like a little setup just at the other side of my loft here, and it's really simple setup, and then I just do all the other effects and things like that in Photoshop. But just touching back on the aesthetic wise, Mastermind Creations and Ocular Max, I think their output is still just slightly detached from the cartoon aesthetic enough to make them unique amongst. But then again, as is Fans Toys, I think Fans Toys do still have a bit of a distance to it there as well.
It depends on the Fans Toys figure, I find. So I got their Inquisitor Scourge recently, and it's so stunning. It's like Quietus, it's like Sovereign. It looks brilliant. But I don't know, some of their others just don't quite hit that. It comes across as too hyper-toon. I can't really think of one to say off the top of my head. I'm not going to pick on Hoodlum. Oh God, don't talk to me about that.
Power Glide.
But I just
Still getting
like Warpath. If you got Fans Toys Warpath, the detail on it was really good. Like, you didn't see that in the cartoons. It didn't feel too accurate. They put enough detail on the alt mode that it felt like a good Transformer. It felt like a proper tank. Some of them are really, really, and I think the ones with the 86 robots. Because at the time when I was a kid, when they came out, like Cyclonus, to me, it did look like a future plane, like with its wings on backwards. I thought that was crazy. Whereas Optimus Prime was truck, just a big red truck. So in my head, they've always retained that sort of future look. So that I kind of forgive Fans Toys for those ones. To me, they look quite detailed, but yeah, not too up for the tune.
For the tune, right? For that, we will go on to some brief bit of news. And Paul, you guys obviously covered a fair bit of it last night, so we won't stay too long. So why does that keep showing? Paul, I don't StreamYard as well as you.
Just keeps coming back. Sorry I was late. We were at a kid's birthday party, laser tag. Laser Quest even. I didn't think Laser Quest was still
Did you
going.
win?
But, I wasn't allowed to play because they were all 6 and 7. So but they knew their clientele because they had a SNES Mini set up in like the waiting area. So I got on that, played
Happy as a pig in something.
Turtles 4, a bit of Mario All Stars, and some Mario Kart.
Lovely. You've done well for yourself. Okay, so appreciate we just started off with a bit of third-party news and then going into this. So I appreciate this isn't necessarily all your cups of tea, but we'd be remiss not to talk about it. Hasbro released some of their upcoming Chug figures. I think, did they say this was coming out August time? Can't remember.
They're split. Some of them are September, some of them are August. So I've had to be very careful when I've ordered them to make sure that they're not all in one order, so that I don't have to wait till the end of September until stuff comes. I have ordered for the Trooper because I'm a horrible army builder.
Oh, you're one of those, are you?
I am one of those, yeah.
But yeah, we have got a Decepticon soldier. We have a Skywarp from the Bumblebee film, I believe. Yeah, it says so on the top box. We have a very good-looking Springer, but I have just seen that price of it up on In Demand before we came on. Wanting 55 of your good pounds for that. And I think I got the Open and Play Big Spring Masterpiece version for cheaper than that. But, you know, such is the price of anything these days. And then
the
that
engineering's been done, hasn't it? The hard bit, the R&D, how it works has been done. All they've really changed is the aesthetical bits and pieces. So I don't think all those accessories necessarily justify the price hike.
No. And I do think as well that that tagline of Studio Series 86 kind of whacks on a few quid as well, because it's like, much like with Blaster, oh, look, it's from the 86 movie, you must get it to go with the other figures. I think it looks good. I do, you know, I think they've captured a likeness very well. But I'm not
absolutely
the biggest Springer fan.
But
They've changed the class though, haven't they? It's leader class now. They've put some accessories in with it, and they've upgraded. Imagine if they put more accessories in next time. Oh, it's the Titan class now. It's got like 4 hammers and 6 guns. It's now Titan class Springer.
Even got more pieces to make it transform differently or be more articulated. It's the exact same figure.
More or less the same thing,
like I say,
isn't it?
it's just different sculpting on the details.
So didn't you guys chat about this last night, didn't you, Paul?
Yeah,
I'm going over old ground. Sorry.
No, you're not at all.
No.
And last night, remember, Andy's in charge of the news and is a lovely Chug lover, and so is Jamie. So I don't feel like I got to rip into it as much as I wanted to. We seem to like quite quickly move past it with the assumption that everyone loves it and it's a brilliant thing to do. It does look good. I'll choose that one out of the two. I think it's cheeky though, making it go up a size to say that it's a leader class now, or is leader class now.
Well,
I think I made the comment in the chat that I confused with it, like, you know, this inclusion of a hammer with it, you know, and I think someone made the point that it's kind of like a callback, you know, because it's part of the Wreckers, but the Wreckers weren't anything to do with the animation, which I assume the Studio Series is harking back to the animation. So it's like, you know, the picking and choosing. I think maybe someone at Hasbro thought, oh, hammer will be cool, give him a hammer. You know,
well, as someone who works with plastic injection molding machines, if you've got room on the sprue, it's not really costing you any extra money to stick another accessory on there, particularly one like the hammer, which looks like it's a one piece. So, yeah, people are complaining about the hammer, but actually that's not adding any money onto the production cost. If they're using that as an excuse to add money onto the retail cost, that's a marketing decision.
It's kind of a cheap bonus, isn't it? It's cheap labour for max output.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it's not really my jam. Is, you know, these particular lines of figures, but you know, I mean, my comments weren't about a cost implication. It was like, you know, more the choice of like an accessory that's not associated with the cartoon character. It's more associated with the comic book. character.
It seems a bit cheeky to throw in an accessory where it says Studio Series 86, but it's not from the 86. I see what you're saying.
They do a Wrecker Springer, didn't they? They done normal
Yes,
Springer, and
they
done
did. They did release.
Didn't have hammer.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that going in like a little firebox set. And but going on to the point that Paul was making, because this has come out as well, the Thundertron, which I got, and it's absolutely brilliant figure. This is Voyager, if I believe, and they were talking there now. Please, someone correct me if I've got this wrong. They've re-released this with a new head, but have they done it at a leader price point now?
They have, but they've included 2 additional figures.
The mini, like not cassette things, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, so you've got the cassette, which uses the Scar version of the Siege Ratbat mold, so the alternate head, and that is, I think it's Night Strike, who was a character from Robots in Disguise 2015, who never actually turned into a robot in the show. So the fact that he doesn't have a proper robot mode as a toy isn't that big a deal. And also another remold of Boulder Crash. Is it Boulder Crash, the car one? Which is actually using an actual Rock Lord head as part of the remolded parts. Calcitron, that's the one.
Yeah, I think it's a bit cheeky. Like Paul says, same figure, few extra goodies, and it whacks up a tier. But
yeah, I mean, there were 3 other repaints they could have done of that figure. They could have done Go Prime, which was black and teal. They could have done Leo Prime, which was the Arms Micron tribute to Lyra Convoy, or they could have done Alpha Trizer, who was a future version of Cheetor in Alpha Trion colours.
I was about to say that, Lee. Actually, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say those 3.
But they could have done any one of them, and nobody would have complained, really. Well, people would have complained, but I doubt they would have complained as loudly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if anyone's going to complain about Straxus.
Oh God,
Galvatron,
no. I love it.
Is it?
Yes, it's so good.
It does look good. It's very blue. It's definitely blue.
Marvel didn't use a lot of colours back in the day, so you're lucky it's not all blue.
No, it does look good though. I have to admit.
That's been one of the rumoured figures forever, so I'm glad it's finally been revealed.
Just need Zaron, don't we?
Yes.
What was that? How you pronounce it?
What was the thing?
Zaron. This is something that I'm seeing in a meme at the moment. People mispronouncing.
Zaron. How are we meant to pronounce it? Have I got it
right?
right?
A Siege Megatron Gold, and you're done.
Yeah.
No,
that won't be right. He doesn't look like that.
I was just going to say, what was this thing that you were on about last night about this? Is it a yellow orange hand or something on one of the previews?
Yeah, it's the corner of the box.
Was that for Straxus? Was it?
Yeah, and some people thought it could be Flame. Some people thought
Flame's got red hands though.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Saying Hot Rod is the hot favourite.
Was it Hot Rod? Someone said the next box is going to be. Yeah, someone said the next box will be 2 deluxes or a deluxe or a Voyager, but I think they're just grasping. We'll have to wait and see.
Probably have a Titan class price point. Sorry, go on.
I'm just trying to remember now. Did Impactor have yellow hands?
He did.
He had one hand.
Oh,
it
yeah,
wasn't
one
the
hand.
hand that we saw. It wasn't the hand that we saw. That would be a harpoon, so it can't be him.
Right. Maybe it's right. Because I just occurred to me, and I thought, I'm pretty sure Impactor had yellow hands, but
yeah, it does on Google. He's got a yellow hand.
But if it's the wrong hand,
his left hand.
Seeing as Pete has asked so elegantly, what is this? This is your favourite, Pete. This is Beast Wars, but this isn't what you think. At least I don't know it is. So, right. I've been talking to Bisto about this. This is Dinobot 2, Transmetal from Beast Wars. You would think this is Transart. Transart have got this figure for a long time on pre-order. But this isn't Transart. This is, wait for it, Black Mamba. They're back. Now,
this was the one you said was incredibly complicated and looked like it had bad QC.
Yeah, I mean, complication perhaps, but certainly, yes, the images I've seen of it in production have shown it shattered into a million pieces. And I don't mean like misassembled, like it looked like it spontaneously combusted. But on the face of it, I've only downloaded this image, but it's up for pre-order on ShowZ. It looks just the same as any other Transart figure. It's got that gorgeous chrome. It stands tall. it doesn't stand to the knowledge off the top of my head. It doesn't stand with any other figures for the photos. But the thing that sticks out to me is this photo, or all of these photos, are done in the same style as all of their other product shots. So, same photographer, same background, same setting. Why is this not trans art? Does anyone have a thought?
I really get annoyed when stuff like this happens. I mean, I pre-ordered the trans art one from Show Z, and usually if there's a if it's not coming out, they'll cancel it and refund it. Or if there's a change, like we get with New Age sometimes, where they advertise a figure and then it comes in a 2-pack, they just still charge me for the 2-pack one. So nothing official has happened, as far as I'm aware, to say that this is or isn't the same figure. It looks very nice.
Could they have sailed a bit too close to the wind previously? I know sometimes they get nervous, don't they, about their companies and put stuff out on another company. We think Rise of the Beast has recently come out. Was there anything they've done recently which nothing may have happened, but they might have thought, oh, we're getting a bit closer.
Yeah, they've done that before. Companies have done that before, where they just happen to change. But Black Mamba existed and then kind of ran away. So I don't know. These developers, they run and change guises all the time. I think the thing that really sticks in my mind is this looks like a trans art figure, and it looks like a trans art photo. Why
does it smell
not
like a trans art figure?
Well, do you know what? Let's just say yes. Let's just go with that.
Time will tell. Time will tell. And then when we've got them in hand, we'll know for sure.
Yeah, I've got the pre-order for trans art version up, so I'm going to stick with that. I don't want my figures breaking into a million pieces. Okay, again, this was touched on. I don't necessarily feel this is your jam necessarily, not all of you, but I'll bring it up. There's rumours, well, fantastically, because it's mine as well. Rumour is that Earthspark's going to be cancelled after 2 seasons and replaced with a new Transformers series or new Transformer cartoon. Why, oh why? Because to my knowledge, yep, cool. Paul, can you not live under an airfield, please?
Their house.
Why do we have a series that's done really well and then just canned? Just, it seems to have got a lot of attention and now it's potentially going to be replaced. So what's going on there?
Well, it's not like you can't watch it. It's on the BBC iPlayer. It's on Paramount Plus. So most young people don't watch things on television anymore. I don't watch things on television anymore. I watch them on streaming. So the fact that the series isn't getting views, I don't think that's got anything to do with it. I think it's entirely down to the fact that the toy line's just not very good. The main young Transformers lines are stuck in this pattern of not fitting in the core deluxe Voyager leader class thing anymore, which hasn't happened for a while now. So Cyberverse was the same. We get warrior figures, which are the equivalent of decent deluxes, but even Earthspark hasn't had many of those, and a lot of them have been recolors of Cyberverse toys.
So
it's been a gimmick-led line. If a child wants to get a Terran, who's like the main character in the show, you can't, because most of the characters are Optimus Prime or Bumblebee or Megatron. I think Hasbro's to blame if this is being cancelled. I think it's a real shame, because it is a really good show. If it had ended with season one ended. It was a nice point at which to stop. Hopefully season 2 finishes in the same way, and I'll just be glad that we got 2 seasons of a great show.
It does feel a little bit cut off in its prime, as it were. I mean, I've enjoyed the show for what it is, but you're right. The toys have not been exactly spectacular, but I feel that is down to Hasbro. I feel that they've got out of it what they put into it. They're not massively complicated. They're not highly designed, and they reap what they sow, is the long and the short of it. So this is a bit of sad news that broke this morning. Paul, I don't think you covered this on the show last night. This morning, I saw it on TFW that G1 Marvel comic artist Don Perlin, do apologise, has passed away. Don did do a lot of artwork for the Marvel comics back in the day, and it is very sad news. We are getting to this point now where people who have started out Transformers over 40 years ago, sadly, do get to this point of life where they do drop off. It's something we have to consider. So do pass on our condolences for that. But I wanted to kind of give it a bit of a shout out, seeing as the news broke this morning.
Should we raise a glass?
We will raise a glass. We will. We'll raise a glass, raise a mug, whatever you're drinking.
Cheers.
For best wishes. And also, bit of Hot Wheels news, which again, you covered a bit last night, Paul, with Optimus Prime, which turned out to be
there was too much Hot Wheels news for a show.
It was, well, there's never enough Hot Wheels news. But that was the one that you showed that actually was a transformable Optimus Prime, wasn't it? With obscenely long arms.
Insanely long arms.
So gangly. Well,
walking.
I would like to quickly say about that Optimus Prime. That Optimus Prime is made for Hot Wheels collectors. It's not made for Transformers collectors. Transformer collectors will be interested in it, but that is made for Hot Wheels collectors, which is one of the reasons why it's so expensive. If you're interested in it, I do recommend you go and put in your pre-order, because the aftermarket prices will be ridiculous.
Is it up for £80 at the moment?
$80. And it's going up, I think, on Tuesday. And once they've run out of stock, it's gone forever. So if you want one, get one, because I had this trouble with Q Transformers Hello Kitty, which was massively more expensive than any of the other Q Transformers, because Hello Kitty fans really wanted it as well. So you compete with two fandoms, not just one.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
There's a YouTuber who goes to Aldi's and Lidl's and picks up rare Hot Wheels toys, because they have that middle of Lidl's, and you have the Boy Racer. You have all the Hot Wheels and like random toys. Like sometimes they get some really rare Hot Wheels toys into like Lidl's,
and Hot Wheels collectors are serious. They'll go mad for a wheel without paint on it.
Good Lord, I never knew. Massive.
Yeah,
well, you can get a Bumblebee. Go on, Ed, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, that the transforming Hot Wheels Optimus Prime. I wasn't actually initially impressed when I first saw it, but I keep seeing posts of it, and that box is shiny. It's like it's growing on me a little bit, but it's
even with the massively long arms.
Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't see me taking it out of the box anyway. It'd be the kind of thing that would just go on a shelf, But then again, it's like it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Apparently, the box is so that you can display it in the box either in alt mode or bot mode, so you can take it out and put it back in again.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't know that. That's clever. Well, if you wanted to get a Bumblebee to go with him, you can. I've only got the one image. It does not look like this Transformers because he's got a solid underneath. If you can just see it, if I zoom in a bit more, maybe at the very base of it, it's got like a solid silver chrome underneath part. I'll get my cursor going the right way.
Maybe it'll be like the old Bay movie ones where you just tilt it on its end. It's got a picture of the robot underneath.
Yeah, maybe it would be that. Well, you got a Transformer logo, an Autobot logo. If you just want a VW Beetle, it seems a bit excessive for it. And as you say, God knows how much this is going to be if Prime's going to be that. But
In Demand just did a sale on Hot Wheels stuff. I picked up a couple, so that gives me a good enough excuse to pick these up as well.
Absolutely. Are you a Hot Wheels collector then yourself in your spare time?
No, not at all. But it's got an Autobot logo on it, so why not?
Fair enough. All right, well, that's the kind of whistle stop for the news. As I say, do go on to Transformers the Show, who covered a lot more news, a lot more in depth on their stream yesterday. But Paul,
some would say too in depth at 40 minutes long of fucking news, but
it was a lot of news cover, wasn't it? But thanks for coming along, Paul. Give you your proper introduction. I think it's a good time to talk. And sorry, Ed, I appreciate you weren't there, but we have a quick chat around TFUK Con as well from your perspective. I was talking to Spiderfather about it before you logged on. I know you launched a video after your stream yesterday of a collection of video clips from the panels and some photos. But how did you final weekend, sir?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. It just keeps getting better, and I think you meet more and more people, you make more and more friends. The community is just such a nice, friendly, welcoming community. And I remember being anxious the first time I went to a convention. People just look out for you. There's no elitism, and you can say that of the place like TFN as well has been the same. But probably the best time last year and the year before, I loved it, really enjoyed it. It was great fun. This year, the venue just felt such a nice venue. We sold out of tickets. There was 2 people who couldn't get there for various reasons. But that was it. All the tickets were sold out. You probably wouldn't want any more people in there. But it was such a good setup with the trader hall, the convention stage, and then you had the garden. It was sunny, and you had a bar the other side, and it just felt perfect. And for me, like I only picked up one Transformer, which was that Spider-Father. You gave me a cheeky Transformer, and Andy Gold gave me a comic, which was awesome. But yeah, it was just the best bit about them is meeting people. That's the best bit, just catching up. I was so excited to see you, Ian, seeing Pete again. Alexis me turned up. I got to have a good catch up with you, Lee. We hadn't really spoken that much before. So yeah, it was just brilliant. A great couple of days.
I do like, as you mentioned, like having the garden felt like a pub garden kind of vibe. And if it just got a bit too much, or you just want to get some fresh air, you can walk outside and do so. That kind of smaller venue, smaller style convention. They said themselves, it's not a convention, it's a gathering, and that kind of is what it felt like, not in any kind of belittling way, but it was really cool to do so. It was my first experience, actually. 3 years to actually go there, and I was on the YouTubers panel with yourself, Paul. That was quite a nice trick until Alexis decided to throw in a push-up challenge, which after a few beverages was not the best.
The other 2 years, he done so well, but I sort of controlled it, and we got the running times exact, and we kind of let him go feral this year. He's such a good presenter, though, and he just loved it, enjoyed it, and it did overrun, but kind of glad it did overrun because it was funny. It was good fun. And
I was
went
on,
full Alexis.
I was on Chris McFeely's team and just watched him trying to get his head around the logic of everything and just saying, look, just give it up. There's no logic. It's just chaos. Just enjoy it. And of course, he's famous for his own quizzes. And he did, I think it was when we were doing trying to pick the names from the pictures, because there was an awful lot of names you could have picked. And because Alexis didn't necessarily articulate particularly succinctly how the rules worked,
Or at all.
that did cause our team to lose some points because there was a challenge. But it was just good fun. It was good.
Chris was still talking about it in the car on the way to the airport the next day. He kept saying, but I know, like, my quiz is different, and I spend loads of time prepping for a TFN, and it's a different kettle of fish. But I just didn't understand the rules. But he was
the thing will be is if when we go to TF Nation in August, there is another. Chris has his own version of that picture name game. Yeah, he accepts every answer that you can put up there.
Yeah,
it's a big fuck you.
Or if he'd done the press up challenge, just went right press up challenge.
That's it. We're going to do it now. Or Rock Lords on Cock Lords. I think that's a little bit different. But now that's Alexis hosting as best he can, and giving us all headaches while he does so. But I will quickly move on to something else I just want to really ask you all, because I put a tweet out a few days ago, because I was looking through all of my pre-orders from the year, and particularly they're around third party, of course, not always. And I was thinking, what is there that you're most looking forward to between now and the end of the calendar year? So, Spider-Father, I'll start with you. New webcam.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me. I'm just pulling up my spreadsheet. I've got spreadsheets for everything. Go to somebody else and then come back to me, and I will have a definitive answer for you.
I'll just pull up my Microsoft Paint file where I've drawn what I want this year.
No, but the thing is, I know you haven't got any pre-orders in. I know you haven't, and you're just going to have to make something up for me. But is there anything? I mean, you were a mad fool and got rid of that Make Toys contact shot.
I got him. I thought it was good. It just didn't fit my collection. Brilliant. I got rid of him. I wasn't that bothered about getting rid of him. I'm going to get rid of all the Action Masters. I can tell you what I'm going to get rid of this year. That's probably easier. So the Action Masters will be going. I'll be picking up some more Joy Toy stuff throughout the year. In terms, I'll pick up some mainline bits from what I've seen recently. There'll be a few little Hasbro things I want to pick up. other than that, I might get the Masterpiece Power Master Prime. It's the
The
more I
Takara
look at it, yeah, the more I look at it, the more
You are a sucker for a Power Master Prime, aren't you?
I just think it's so hard that Fans Hobby was such a good design, and it is over embellished from the original design. I get that, but it was so well over embellished. I find it hard to go back. And when we're talking about toon accuracy, there is an element of that that he just doesn't look as good as what Fans Hobby have done, in my personal opinion. But then, do you want him to be? I guess if Hasbro done so, the head he's going to come with is the God Jinra head, isn't it? It's not going to be the Power Master Marvel head. So if they've done a Power Master, if they've done an upgrade to make it more Marvel UK comics accurate, then maybe. Don't know.
I mean, I got Fans Hobby Power Master Prime on pre-order because I've missed it first time round. It was really struggling to get, and I keep seeing your bloody box behind you that keeps making me want to get it. And I've got the Thunderclash Lightning Eagle, which I like, is fine, but isn't Power Master Prime. But they offered to do a reissue, and it's as good there price-wise as it's going to be anywhere else. And I've done a first time I've ever done it, pay in three, interest-free payments. And I thought, well, that's made it a mile easier, because that would have been quite a dent. But that's one thing I'm looking forward to. One thing, I suppose it's got to be the last Fans Toys aerial bot, I guess. I just want to see what this Superion Combiner is going to look like. But I've got a MMC Hotspot Ignis coming soon. I know Mick in the chat has got it. Have you? Oh, there he is. Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, mine arrived broken.
Oh no!
It's when you turn it into robot mode, there's two tabs on the back of the thigh, because the legs sort of concertina up. You need the tabs to hold the legs straight. One of them is broken, so the leg can't actually be secured, and that's also a problem when you in combined mode. Kapow got back to me straight away. They're contacting MMC to see if they can get me replacement parts. So I'm just going to put him back in his box, keep him nice and safe until I hear more. But it's a lovely figure. I really do like it.
See if you can get, because there's something that's happened to me before. Getting replacement parts is all well and good. Just be sure that you're not having to completely break the figure to fit the parts. Because sometimes I've had that with it was an X-Transbox one, heaven forbid. But it was such an integral core piece that snapped off. It's far too flimsy. They sent me a replacement part, but I would have had to completely structurally destroy the figure to take the old piece out because it was snapped off to put it in. I couldn't assemble it all together again. And that's the kind of instance where you need a full replacement. Otherwise, you're doing more damage.
I'm expecting at least a whole leg.
Yeah, but you like it, though?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's lovely. I'm more of a for Masterpiece. I tend to go Fans Toys, so I pick a third-party one that I like, and I'll just stick with it. Like New Age, I will only get New Age Legends, with the exception of that Lio Kaiser that Iron Factory is doing. But I really like the MMC combiners, and Fans Toys look like they're a bit too fiddly to be enjoyable, so I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see when they finish their Superion quite if I'm going to back them from any other combiners. You got a question, Paul?
Yeah, Ultra Magnus, is that coming out this year, Fans Toys? It's up for pre-order, I think, isn't it?
I don't think it's due for this year, is it?
Yeah, I've not seen any release schedule for it.
No. I've got my pre-order with Primetime Toys for that. I don't think it is. It's got a weird name of like Merg.
Yeah, Ma or Marg.
MARGH. And they're doing for the other company, aren't they?
Yeah, the fantastic model. But it's fully transformable. It's got no pre-order. It's got no release date. No. I've got a pre-order with it, but the thing is, I've still got my Takara Ultra Magnus that I got from my very first TF Nation, my very first purchase at a Transformer convention. I still love it. I love the fact he's heffing big. He's chonk. That's what Magnus should be. Yes, he has a big butt flap.
Oh, but, what a butt flap. If you're going to do a butt flap, do it that scale.
100% butt flap. Yeah, absolutely. And I still think that holds up to this day. So I've gone for the Fans Toys one just to kind of see what the crack is. But if I have to
you'll be
keep
able to see the crack because he hasn't got a butt flap.
hey.
Primetime Off saying it's this year from the information he's got.
But that's what
and you
people
can-
say with Fans Toys. It's like 2 weeks away.
But you get a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, don't you? Like you put it's a parts former, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still getting a prime. Yeah.
Yeah. It very much reminds me of almost an upscaled New Age Octavian.
Yeah.
You know, the way that it's, the way that it looks, its design. But yeah, I've got it on pre-order myself as well. I'm curious about it. I did have the Takara one that moved on to Pastures New. I've got the X-Transbots one, which I'm fine with. It's, I've had, there was a little issue, but they sorted me out. I was able to fix it up, and it's great. I even went back and did the double dip on the Shining Yellow Magnus. That
piss color Magnus.
Yeah, that really threw a curveball at me, because that one actually feels better quality than the actual proper Ultra Magnus. The plastic on it feels a lot sturdier.
There you are.
I just remember somebody at TF Nation on the Sunday having that X-Transports Ultra Magnus in the bar, and we were there for at least 2 hours, and they still hadn't been able to fully transform it during that entire time.
Borders
yeah, John, what you doing, man? You got to know all transformations of Ultra Magnus off the back of your mind, John. But mind you, we're not going to talk about transformations that don't quite see through to fruition, are we, Paul?
Yeah, right. So transform elements. So I need a new prime. So what I really liked about the Ultra Magnus Fans Toys is the prime looked fairly good to transform, and I know he's white, but I sold my transform elements prime the other day. I think he was one of my favorite looking primes in his robot mode, but that transformation wasn't fun at all. I didn't enjoy that, and I probably need a new Masterpiece Prime now. I'm not sure which one to get. I don't want MP.
Well, I can't convert MP44 without watching a video.
There's a lot of steps to that, isn't there? Yeah. There's a lot.
How about the Magic Square? The Light of Peace, is it? The second version?
I've got him. Yeah, I've got him, and I think there's two versions. I've got version 1. I think he's perfectly fine. He's brilliant. He's an upscale Legends in Masterpiece form, which I can't believe other companies haven't done this. I'm not a Legends collector, but I love how New Age looks. I've said to you, Paul, a few times, like their Soundwave, I think looks amazing. Their Lucifer, isn't it? Starscream. Yeah, some of their stuff looks so good. I think just the one I'm crying out for is Iron Factory's Ultra Magnus, the IDW one. It's big for Legends. He's really big shoulder. I'm like, please, someone do an oversized version of that, because that's one I would really want to buy. But yeah, like Ed was saying, Paul, I think go with the Magic Square as an offering, and you get it quite cheap. It's like under 80 quid compared to some other offers.
Drag off the shelf and transform quickly, pose it for a bit, transform it back, which isn't too much of a nightmare to transform. Nick's saying that it wasn't too hard transform elements. I didn't like it. You should have buttons to press.
The Magic Square one's quite a decent transformation. I've got the version 1, like the one that's like a pastel colour rather than actual vivid. I kind of held off on getting their 2.0 version. I wish I'd have picked it up now, but because Fans Toys are going to do their version of Optimus, I thought, right, well, I'll just wait and see what Fans Toys do with theirs, But I did. It's over there in the box, but I did treat myself to the Pangu Toys Optimus.
Massive one. Yeah, I think I saw a picture. That's so big though, isn't it?
It's great. It's kind of. I was fortunate. The one that I got was intact. It's and I've touched wood. I've had no issues with it. But I'm kind of I've got a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth because they've now announced that they're doing a toy coloured version of it, and I think it's something like $80. And it's like, do a double dip, because if you give me the option between the toy coloured Transformer or an animation coloured, I'm going to go with the toy colours. So, yeah.
Do you know, I'm of two minds. I think it depends on the figure. I'm much more tune over toy version, but it does depend. I can see a lot of companies doing both. MMC have done both. X-Transbots are doing so because I've got their Stunticons. I've got their long haul recently, and they're going to release that with a blackened head to represent the toy. But it's like Lee was saying earlier, it's a cheap win, isn't it? Particularly if there's only so many parts to do. But yeah, but is there anything else that, Ed? I don't think we got to you. Is there anything you're particularly looking forward to as a pickup this year?
Yeah, pre-order wise, I have actually got quite a few pre-orders on at the moment. I've got I'm just looking at my spreadsheet now. Spreadsheets are life. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And paint.
So you have to excuse me if I don't pronounce them correctly, but it's the X-Transbots Yaguchi and Meidas. So it's the Omnibots. It's rounding out the Omnibot team. I've already done Fioviante, which is Camshaft, is it, or Overdrive? Yeah. I'll mix up the names of them, to be fair. So I've got those two on pre-order, waiting for those. I pinned my flag with X-Transbots for their Devastator. There was just something about their big load which appealed. So, yeah, I know. I had to kind of stifle the snigger there. Tee-hee. So I went with Ground Bite. Ground Bite is the next pre-order.
Here's my big load for your viewing pleasure. He's lovely.
But yeah, so and then I've got Robot Paradise, their second cassette team. I've got that on pre-order.
That's Ratbat, Buzzsaw, and the two weirdly found Dinobots, isn't it?
Ratbat's been released with their version of Sound Blaster.
Oh, Sound Blaster, yeah.
So it's Buzzsaw, and I don't know what the others are because I'm just buying it for Buzzsaw. So once it comes, I'll take Buzzsaw out, and the rest will get sold. It's like
Slugfest and Overkill being the dinosaurs.
Right. That's
and then it's Ma, which is their Ultra Magnus, Fans Toys, and Warhorse and Doc, their versions of Ironhide and Ratchet. So I think that's all I've got on pre-order.
Busy one.
Yeah, the missing link, Bumblebee, and
yeah, I'm not massively into the missing link figures. I see the appeal with Prime, and I've heard really good things, but I just they're not my jam for me. I want to go with the re-engineer, but a lot of people do seem to like them. But like you, Ed, I've got a load of stuff on pre-order. I've gone with the X-Transbots. I'm going to finish off the MMC Protector bots. I've got Transart stuff. I've got the Fans Hobby Tidal Wave. If that's going to come out this year, I'll be surprised. And Beast Wars Takara Rhinox. So yeah, I am looking forward to Rhinox. I want to see how that's going to be. And of course, that will be one of the last Masterpiece figures. Quite where they're going to go from there, we will see. But yeah, right. I'm going to do something a little bit different now. And none of you know this. So I'm going to catch you all unawares. Quickly, you're trying to find...
Your top off?
No, not that. And you've seen that before. But I am going to shock you, or at least the three of you anyway. Yes. How do you feel about doing an impromptu quiz that I gave you no prior warning of?
Do you have to have actual knowledge of Transformers?
Well, yes. I wanted to do something that engages the three of you, and there are going to be 4 questions with a hope that there could be a clear winner. Because if it's going to do 3 questions and you all get 1 right each, there's going to be no clear winner. So I like to think we're going to have a winner and not a 2-way tie or something. So I'm going to ask you 4 questions. They are not Chris McFeely level, but God knows they're done slightly better than Alexis. So we are going to go with a bit of a time quiz because I don't want you Googling these answers. So I'm going to want answers or hands in front of the screen or not down your trousers, Mr. Farrelly. But we're going to go a bit of a time quiz. Let's go 20 seconds between answers. So first question, starting now. In the War for Cybertron Netflix series, who voiced Optimus Prime?
Oh, God. Who cares?
That's not the correct answer, Lee.
Where do I?
I
put
know
the
it
answer?
isn't.
Do I just say it out loud?
You can, yeah. If you know it, without
Is
Googling
it
it.
Peter Cullen?
It's not.
Damn it! It's the only voice actor I know.
Okay, and that
Is
is
it Gary
50
Chalk?
milk. It's not fair.
It was
fair answer,
nobody we've ever heard of before. I know that much.
Right.
I'll tell you what, I had to Google it. The answer is Jake Fushie, Foushee. Very shouty prime as well, if you don't mind me saying. But no one got that in the
Sorry,
time.
I was going to be at a disadvantage there.
I am so sorry.
Well, don't worry. I've tried to keep the questions a little bit varied, so don't feel like I've targeted a particular area of the fandom. Next question. Try and get a point on the board. It would be nice for the first quiz, wouldn't it? Who was, or which was, the tallest G1 Transformers toy back in the
Fortress
day?
Maximus.
Well done. 1 point to Farrelly.
Question mark.
He looks so surprised. He's like, where did that come from? Well, see, a nice easy one for you. Okay, next question. Try and at least get something on the board for the other two. For fans' toys, what is their name for the character Weird Wolf?
Monzo.
Nope.
Oh fuck.
Ah. I've got it as well.
No.
Oh, Lupus.
Lupus.
Well done. Yes. Had to dig it out of your mind, but yes. Point to
Why did I have
Spider-Father
to
on the
Monzo?
board.
I've got something
know
with
what you
Monzo
thought
on
was.
the box. I know that much.
Okay, and last one, bit of a general knowledge one, but again, open the wall, and we'll say of all the Constructicons, which one has the shortest name?
In theory, of all the Constructicons,
Well-
who has the shortest name? Is it Bob?
Bob the Builder?
Yeah.
No. Ed was right there. And you did my worst fear, gentlemen. You've got one question wrong, so no points were awarded, and then you got a point each. And we got a 3-way tie of the 4 questions I had written down. But yes, you got a point each. For the inaugural quiz, there is no overall winner. But thank you, nevertheless. So yeah, that was just something I wanted to throw in too.
No, thank you. I feel better about myself.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
I've done Transformers the show proud there. Of any of the people on the show who would enter a Transformers quiz, I think I would definitely be the last person they'd put forward. So
Are you definitely going to enter Chris McFeely's quiz then? Has that buoyed you on? Giving
I
you
always
confidence?
I always do, because I always think of the team name. Like, the first year we called ourselves Anal Fury, and it stuck with us. And I remember, I can't remember what the question was. It was like, it was a fucking hard question. It was like, what of the 3 planets is a destitute hell with burning molten slag? And I shouted out Milton Keynes. I was remembered for that. So I could do shit funny answers, but not proper good answers.
Well, you got one right on this one, so there's hope for us all, eh? But yeah, I've sat in his quizzes before, and it's just like, I think I said at UK Con, it's like, what's the name of the mayor in Transformers animated 3rd season? Well, oh, come on now, don't be silly.
Goozy, what's the female Constructicon?
Female,
Jane.
there's a female.
Jane.
Jade, well, I don't know. Is there a female Constructicon?
Maybe
I can
some
think of.
obscure Japanese sub-faction,
Very much
weird
so.
little comic book or radio play.
But one thing I do want to talk about as well is, actually, I don't know if any of you have gone to see it, but they're called. We had the screening at the cinema this weekend of the first 4 episodes, wasn't it? It was the 3 episodes of the pilot and 1 other. I unfortunately had a ticket and I couldn't go in the end, so I feel like I've probably missed out. But I've heard a couple of, I don't want to say mixed reviews, but have any of you seen it or have any inclination to see it?
Yeah, I went and saw it on Wednesday. It was fine. I think if you went in there with high expectations of a remastered version of all 4 episodes with stereo sound, you would have been disappointed. It was mono sound, which in a cinema just means there's overlapping versions of the same audio coming out of different speakers. So it can be a little bit disorientating. But I thought the way they did it, they made it a bit more interesting because the first episode was a table read. So you had the episode on one side of the screen, and then you had the actors reading the lines as they were being performed by the animation on the other side of the screen. Of course, they replaced some of the actors because they're no longer with us. But it was fun. It was interesting to see the actors at work doing the lines. The lines were read differently from how they'd been done in the actual show. And if you've watched those episodes as many times as I have, then you probably would have noticed. But then that's what Wally Burr was for, making them do it again and again and again and again until that he got the one that he liked. And then the following 3 episodes were just the episodes. So yeah, I mean, I say, if you'd managed your expectations, you would have had an enjoyable time. If you were going in there expecting something amazing that they'd actually spent money on, then you probably would have been disappointed.
Was there a trailer for a new season of Earthspark?
There was a clip of the new season of Earthspark, which I suspect is the opening of the first episode.
Oh, okay. And did the first? I'm going tomorrow, and it's £5. Like, I can't for the cinema. That's quite cheap. Normally, it's really expensive, and I understand it's not a full release of a new film, but for a £5, I'm definitely going to go. It would just be weird to see who's in the cinema in Durham on a Sunday afternoon watching the first 4 episodes of a show from the 80s, with the first one being spoke. Did you? Was it a bit of a clash? The first episode, could you sit there and enjoy it with the script reading, or was it a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I sat there and enjoyed it. Like I say, I found it interesting watching them do their thing. Because you had the greats, you had Cullen and Welker, and then you had Greg Berger, all doing acting whilst they were reading the lines. So you could see their expressions, you could see what they were doing with their hands, how they were contorting their bodies to get the line out. And also the other actors that they brought in. I think the guy who did Starscream in Cyberverse was Starscream in the table reading. He was really good. I've seen a lot of comments on social media of people saying he did a really good job, and I'd agree that he did. But yeah, for £5, it's a couple of hours out of the house.
Do you think we'll see a DVD release of it? Do you think Hasbro will cash in on that?
No, I could see it being. I can see the first episode being an extra on a different DVD release.
Right.
I don't think they'd release it as its own thing. It's interesting to see what could they now do for the 40th anniversary of the movie. Because I'd go see the movie in the cinema in a heartbeat. I didn't get to see it when I was a kid. I would love to see Transformers the movie in a cinema, but I would really like them to jazz it up a little bit. So we've had a decent remaster on Blu-ray, so I'd like to see that version up there, and also surround sound, proper stereo sound, if it hasn't already got it. Just to make it a proper cinema experience, because it is a cinema experience, whereas the TV show isn't.
Yeah,
And
it was written for cinema, wasn't it?
Yeah, and one of the questions that my mate I went with, Stu, when we went in there, is because he's got home cinema and he's watched things on DVD on his big cinema screen, and he says the resolution looks really weird when it's blown up that big. And the way that they got around it was that they just kept it in a screen on the screen. So you've got like a border, which is like Teletran 1, and you're watching the screen on Teletran 1, so that it's not too massive and the resolution isn't too off.
Yeah, because that's one thing you've got to remember. The film will be 40 years old. It's hard when you start stretching it to modern day screens without it really warping the image. But I agree with you, Lee. It's going to be, if they said in 2 years' time we're going to re-release the '86 movie, I could go to the cinema for that quite happily. But
like
I can see
that. Like, I'll be there singing along to the songs.
It's
musical, isn't it?
Have any of you watched Gav's TRDQ on the 40th anniversary showing?
Can't say.
Because his was held in his local town hall. He was the only person there. And he left after the first episode because he thought, "Oh, I've seen the good bit. I'm going now," as he does in his own inimitable way. But we had people. There were people in the screening that we had, but I got a text from Stu as I was driving up, and he said, "I'm noticing a very specific type of person coming into the cinema, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be in the same screen." And he was. It was all 40-year-old men Some of them I know as local Transformers fans, and some of them were just local geeks that I'm aware of, and they all just piled into the cinema. So it wasn't just Transformers fans that went to see it. It is going to pick up some other people to go see it, but it's not being marketed particularly well. So we know about it because we've seen it on the Transformers news sites.
Yeah,
Regular people wouldn't have. It's only if you scan the Odeon listings for stuff that you would know it was on.
And there's
I
got to
would
be a
say
fair
as well.
amount of people who don't really understand it, who are going, "Oh, I'll take the kids to that £5 Transformers film. Let's go and turn up."
I do think they
good.
haven't really pushed. They haven't pushed it to be at the cinemas too long. It's on for 3 days in 1 week. If you're away on holiday, stuffed, you know.
But
So-
the cinemas do stuff like that all the time. I went and saw Star Trek 2, the Arthur Khan, that was getting a special showing at the cinema, which was brilliant, seeing something
Trek
that
3's
old
on
on the big screen. Is it? Oh, I'll definitely go see
I
that.
went into the cinema to get our tickets, and they've got Search for Spock at the same cinema.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to have a look for that. I love my Star Trek.
I love Star Trek. Let's do Star Trek the show.
Get your own show.
We'll have a Star Trek chat at TF Nation.
Yeah,
it'll
definitely.
be fine.
Do you know oh, what's his name? The guy Sven Harvey,
Yes.
huge Star Trek fan, and like he has a Star Trek meetup every year at TFN. Like he
Oh,
does
awesome.
and stuff, but also has a
Wow.
little Star Trek.
Another reason to go.
Yeah. He runs his own space stock. He has there's like a local group, of Star Trek fans. I think he's Space Stock Birmingham. I can't remember what the number is, but yeah, he's he likes Star Trek.
He does. And I think because you get there, you get ships, don't you? So he had the USS something, I can't remember what it was,
Yes.
and like you'll join it, and it's really cool. And so I joined a local one. I can't remember the name of the ship, but it just went a bit shit, and people got really pissed off. And I wasn't really involved. I literally online, I never met anyone physically, and we ended up starting our own Facebook group. And it was a ball cube, and we were all drones because we were fighting back. The guy who ran it was so strict, and it wasn't fun at all.
Right.
So we all left, and then they kicked us out of the because you officially recognise, aren't you? Because it's the worldwide Star Trek group and stuff, and we got put on the ban list.
Oh dear!
You can't-
I do hear these.
Can't go anywhere,
I hear
can you, Paul?
I cannot go anywhere. I ruined everything I touch, Lee.
Yeah, can you not be into Transformers anymore? Why don't you take on like GoBots? That's great. Go for them.
You
Robots
failed
are
your
great.
Maru test.
If you're going to start inviting me to these things, you have to understand that I will push back at any GoBot shit talking.
You're a GoBot defender, are you?
I love GoBots. It's good.
What's he going to
Either
throw
one.
out now? What's he going to throw out now?
The Rock Lord Combiner, which was part of the Machine Robo.
It's been lovely having you on the stream here, Lee. I do wish you all the best in your future endeavours.
I've also got a special
yourself, mate.
blue megaplex version of G1 Megatron.
Well, you are let back in under supervision.
I have that one.
It's lovely.
Well,
isn't it?
I'll tell you what. I'll go to that. Is there kind of a G1 toy that you've? I'll say this though: is there a G1 toy that you never got back in the day, but you got now, and you kind of completed your collection from 40 years later? Is there something that you said, "I never got it, now I finally have"? Paul?
Well, I've completed my Western G1 collection, but let Paul go first.
Yeah, no, this is the one came to mind. That Octane, I never had Octane as a kid. I used to look at photos of him in the Argos catalogue. I just thought he had so many good alt modes, and I loved him. And then growing up, when I first got back into sort of masterpiece and third party, I had Provider, which I still got upstairs as one of my favourite third party Transformers. I love transforming him. So I got the G1 as well from Colin, who runs TF Transformers Selling Unlimited. Sorted me out, him complete with all the bits and bobs, and love that. The only one I'd love to get now, I still don't have, is a G1 Snapdragon. I've got a G1 8 Face, which is my original G1 as a kid. And again, I had 8 Face, loved him to bits. But I used to look at Snapdragon in the catalogs and go, God, that space mode, that spaceship mode just looks so absolutely amazing. So that's probably one I would pick up, maybe at TFN or something.
You won't be
Well, yeah,
disappointed. It's one of the best.
Mm. Oh,
See what the fairies at TF Nation. Ooh.
my microphone.
It was a nice echo. Nice. Go on, Lee. What about you?
Well, I managed to complete my Western G1 collection not too long ago, actually. I think one of the first ones when I got back into collecting back into 1999 was G1 Megatron, and it was the first reissue. Absolutely loved that toy. I never saw it once in Woolworths when I was a kid. So actually having it in hand, even now, is really special. It's a special toy. But the last ones that I got were the deluxe Insecticons and Whirl and Roadbuster. And because they're not Hasbro or Takara toys, they really are their own thing. And it was just really interesting to finally have them in hand after only seeing like little pictures in catalogs as a child and experiencing them for the first time.
Okay, that's good. I think the G1 Megatron is a nice one that you showed up there. That's a nice grail there to get. What about you, Ed? Anything from G1 days?
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, most of my G1 collection, because I didn't really have that many as a kid. At one point, I actually had more GoBots at one point than I did Transformers. I'm sorry. They were more pocket money friendly with the GoBots, you know. But no, I would say by the time it rocked round to 86, yeah, I had a decent selection of Transformers. But I mean, yeah, I mean the usual. I mean, I didn't have Optimus Prime because he was like, it was, I suppose, back in 84, it was like, Christmas 84, it was like Buzz Lightyear, during the 90s, you just couldn't get him, So yeah, I got the first Optimus Prime I got was the when it came out, the JAFCON Optimus Prime that came out. Was it 99? Was it 99 or 2000?
Is that the black one?
I got both. I got the regular and the black one. I got them from. It's no longer going, but I don't know if anyone remembers Zyber Toys. I got it from Zyber
God,
Toys.
yeah, I remember Zyber Toys. Yeah,
that tells you how long ago. But yeah, I think it was 2000 I got those. So they were that was the first Optimus I got. But no, the first lot of Transformers I got, when I didn't have as a kid. It was just a big, massive box full I bought off someone that I knew, in my local town. And there were all sorts in there, the stuff from 84 through to 88, so, but yeah, Soundwave, things like that. So yeah, there were, that was, I mean, I had Soundwave as a kid, but, I wanted a nice Soundwave. But yeah, the Prime was the first one.
And when you were a kid with the GoBots, like I never excluded them. Like they were in the same box as the Transformers. I played for me as a kid. They were the same continuity. They were part of the Transformers universe. To me, I never once was really elitist like Ian and Jamie and kept them away from other Transformers.
Well,
I was all about inclusivity when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I got it in. I think it may have been very early 85. It may have been even late 84. I got, it was the pre-GoBot, so it would have been Robo Machines, Spacey, the bigger one. And until I got Jetfire, that was my Jetfire. Until I got the Jetfire,
Well, how many people used Rescue as their Ratchet?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I can't remember his name now, but there was a small Jeep one as well that you could
Jeep
use.
Creeper.
You could use as Hound, So, I mean, obviously you struggled when you got to characters like Tux and is it Hans Croft, the police car. But yeah, sorry, Ian.
I've lost respect for all of you hijacking my show and taking the direction of GoBots. But the thing is, I'm no better than either of you because I had a very good condition, I might add, Leader 1. And I didn't know it was GoBots. It was just a transforming figure. And to my mind, that was Starscream because it was largely grey. And I thought, well, it's kind of Starscream. And it's a very good jet mode. And he was a nice diecast to him to the point of when I got my actual Starscream, which was the Generation 2 Starscream, it was kind of like, oh, Leader 1's almost better in some ways. Maybe. Sorry, don't shoot me down, but it kind of is.
All this time you were hiding your own shame by going off on us.
The things that I will admit,
lashes every night.
I will admit though, there is still a GoBot that I do keep my eye out for, and I've not seen one for a while. But I would like Stack's gift set, with the truck and the trailer.
Oh, yeah, I know the one. Yeah,
a boxed one, a nice boxed one, because I liked Stacks. I never had Stacks, but I just liked it. I just thought it looked nice. But to be fair, some of the other GoBot cars look nice. The Beetle and the Porsches. The look and the Datsun. They did look nice.
I had one of the bases. It looked a bit like. So there's the Lucas just saying about the GoBot base that looked like it was a big AT-AT. What was that?
That was the command center. Command center.
So one of them, it was just like a spaceship, and the wings popped out.
Thruster.
It was huge, yeah.
Thruster, yeah. Thruster was the Renegade one.
But the one which looked like an AT-AT, I really wanted that one.
It's massive. I remember getting them a couple of years ago when I lived in a one-bedroom flat, and I had to immediately sell them. And I don't sell anything because it was just too big.
Now, what I'm just doing whilst you're talking, because GoBots, of course, I almost feel like there is an untapped market here. But I was thinking
Android.
of,
sorry,
I was thinking of the where are we? I'll share my screen. I was thinking of the Diaclone sets that came out recently, and it was the bases. So if I share my screen, share screeny, get the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd be in if they did reissue the GoBot, figures. I mean, I don't know how feasible it is, because I don't know. I would assume that the rights for them is quite messy.
Hasbro's got the license now, haven't they?
I think they do.
Well, I've been collecting some Japanese model kits of the original GoBots toys, so the rights are still out there.
Yeah, I was under the impression that Hasbro had the rights for the names. Was it? Because
yes, the IP, but not the toy designs, not the toy designs. They still reside with Bandai, I believe. Yeah,
because Bandai licensed it to Tonka over here, and it was Hasbro that acquired it through Tonka when they took over Tonka, wasn't it? If I remember correctly.
So Bandai can still make those toys because Machine Robo is not GoBots, so they can just release the Machine Robo version, and then you can just import them and call them what you like.
Wow. So this was the Diaclone base that came out, I believe, in at least 2 parts, and I know Jamie got this recently. But
I've got the legs. I've got the torso on the way from Show Z, but it's nearly 6 weeks, and they keep telling me, "Oh, it's on its way. Just keep waiting."
It does look pretty spectacular, though. When I've seen completed images, it's heffing big. The detail as well. If I go back to the first shot, is crazy.
That's a playset.
It's got all lots of little doors that have flip-out guns. I mean, that chest is an actual bridge with little seats that twist, little screens,
but look at all these kind of like these side bits, all like these pistons, and it stands easily Titan size, I think, when it's all combined.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap. I think I've seen some of the prices. It was like, you can see why you buy them in segments.
Yeah, I think it was about 300 quid per segment, but then they had a bunch of add-ons, so you could have additional guns for the legs. You could have like aircraft carrier launch pads. You could have like cranes and things, and you bought all that separately if you wanted it and added it on.
Which is good way to do it, because if you're just happy to have it sort of standing upright in a robot mode, you don't necessarily need all the cranes and the gubbins. But it's easily £1,000 set, I would have said, when it's all said and done.
More now, because Diaclone aftermarket prices are insane.
Yeah,
they just shoot up and up. Because I would like a new version of the Powered Convoy, the original Optimus Prime toy. I'm not spending that, because I could get me a Japanese G1 Transformer for that money.
But I think this does look pretty spectacular, and the thing is, I've got no affinity to it to drop that kind of money. But when I look at the size of it and the detailing, it's like I'd love to have that in a collection up against the likes of the big boy. I just think it looks brilliant.
Not quite as detailed. This is
I've got that. The Android base.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that is a good
I've got one of them. It is pure I think that's been re-released multiple times because I've got
It's
a
not
Beast Wars
Masterpiece,
version.
I would say.
No,
but
I've got
it's,
a
doesn't
Beast
look-
Wars
doesn't look
version of that
nice.
toy.
it's Beast Wars version. Fuck.
There's a Beast Wars version.
So was that GoBots?
The company that had the mold just shopped it around. I don't think it was ever released as GoBots. It was released under one of these knockoff transforming robot lines they had tons of in the 80s.
Yeah.
But somehow Takara licensed the mold. It's in silver. It's got tons more sculpted detail on it. It doesn't have the arms, but it is the exact same toy otherwise. I'll dig my photos out and
He's
I'll
going
share
to
them
dig
on
out
the
my
Facebook page.
parents' house. But it's the cockpit where the face is reminded me of what Lucas was saying, which was this guy.
Oh,
so
yes.
that's the GoBot one. So is that massive?
It is huge.
It's a small
I
dog.
bought them
Small
again,
dog.
but I don't know if I've got any photos of them next to anything.
Does look cool.
Oh, well. Nice trip down memory lane. Lee, how dare you? But yeah, it's... no, I was thinking about some of the stuff that's coming out, and I just look at things like that. I have no affinity towards it, like the Diaclone, but it doesn't mean to say it doesn't look good. But looking at the other things that are coming out, I don't know. I've got my pre-orders in for Fans Toys. I am really looking forward to seeing, like Fans Toys were talking about doing that massive Fortress Maximus that we've seen nothing of, and the head's
I've got
released.
the head. Yeah, I've got the head. It's a really lovely figure. I don't know if I would want the rest of it though, because it's going to be just so massive. It will be unfeasible. I mean, Unicron is hard enough to convert. The HasLab Unicron is hard enough, and that's supported by a stand. I can only imagine what
Paul knows that trouble so very well, doesn't he?
Have you even opened the box?
One day, Lee, I'll open it. That day.
It's
just
the
keep-
best
oh, I
paperweight
think
you've
I'll just-
ever seen.
The only thing is, I'm going to open it, and in my mind, I've decided it's not as good as if you got Studio Cell Unicorn and just made it that big. And it might be. I might open it and go, oh, it's actually better than that. But in my head, it's not. And then, I don't know, it's just one of those things, is it? I got a chance to buy, which is probably one of the biggest Transformers ever. And you kind of have to take that. I sold Studio Cell for sort of half the price, so I only had half for it to pay.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a good looking one as well. I was tempted with the Studio Cell. The only thing that bothered me is I've got the Zeta Masterpiece combiners. I didn't want them scaling the same height as Unicron, but I think that's a good looking Unicron.
Yeah,
I've got the
Studio
Studio
one coming.
You've got it,
coming. So,
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, it's great. I really do like it. I know it kind of contradicts what we were saying earlier on about toy version over toon version, but yeah, it looks like it's just walked out of the movie. It's a really nice piece, and it doesn't matter about scale. It just looks nice. It just really looks nice, and it's a good size. It is a good size. But if they ever upscale it, who knows? But the Fans Toys Fortress Maximus, though, I have a feeling that if they do it, they'll probably do like what they did with their Omega Supreme. Do it in two parts.
Yeah, it was legs and upper body, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because I think, like I say, I think just one big chunk could be it'd be just too much. I think. But I just wanted to ask you, for me, and just going back to the Fans Toys combiners. I was speaking to someone about the Mastermind Creation combiners. That when they were designing them, they made a specific choice to not have any diecast content in there, basically to make them more, to make them better for combined mode. The Fans Toys ones, have they still retained their diecast content in them?
So I proclaimed some time ago, actually on Transformers the Show. I said this. Actually, it was Alexis who said it, and I chipped in from the comments section, and Paul read it out. So it's weird. I remember this. That it would be that the arm bots would have less die cast in them than the leg bots. Otherwise, it's too much, and they'll just droop down. Whatever you do, whatever pose you try and get it in. And I did a review of Viper, Firefly recently, where I actually weighed the individual figures, and Firefly came out considerably less weight. And I wouldn't say it massively felt it, but it did feel just that shade lighter, that the legs don't have considerably as much die cast to it. But of course, they're going for a skeletal frame now, with at least with the aerial bots that you attach all the figures onto. And I thought, okay, if you're going to attach these limbs there with a skeletal frame, which will presumably be die cast as well, will the figures retain that die cast weight? But still, Viper came out quite a bit lighter when I put them on the scales, which to me, it makes sense. I mean, I've been very critical of Fans Toys with how they do it and how they've adjusted this design 5 years on the trot. You know, fine if you make some changes along the way, but it was quite it's quite a long time to go. We don't know how to combine this set, and that's basically what they're saying. We didn't know how to finish this team, but I think that they'll do it. Proof will be in the pudding there as to how it's going to look and what they're going to do with their Stunticons. But I actually haven't had an MMC combiner. I've heard a lot around their Bruticus. I was very tempted with it, but I'm going to go with the Protector Bots. That's going to be my first MMC combiner. I've still said that I don't mind parts forming if it makes a combiner look good. So that's why I quite like the Zeta combiners. They got a massive faux chest piece. You know, if you've got them individually, it just sits around gathering dust. But it does the job and makes the combine mode look so much better. At least I think so.
I mean, I've got the MMC Bruticus, and it is a very stable figure combined. The ratchets on the joints are really strong. You can pose it, not worried about it falling apart. That's what convinced me to stick with them with the combined masterpieces rather than go off and get a Fans Toys.
I had the First Aid and Streetwise version of Mastermind Creations. I had them in to do some photos and a review of, and I liked them. I did like them. I thought that the plastic was good quality. You know, the joints were great, and you know, they look great in both vehicle mode and robot mode. And you know, I transformed them into the limb pieces, and they look quite, you know, they look good. I liked the, you know, that I won't call it a gimmick, but I like the fact that they incorporated their parts, so you know, like the hands and things like that. And I thought that was good engineering. But it's just it wasn't part of my collecting remit, so you know, it wasn't something that I considered purchasing, you know, or keep. I'm happy with Devastator to, you know, fill my combiner itch, you know, as I say. And but yeah, I was impressed with them.
Paul, you don't have that many combiners in your collection, do you? You've got a few Legends Combaticons, haven't you?
I've got the oversized Jim Bow Warbotron Bruticus, which I absolutely love and adore. Other than that, I think that's it. I did get Magic Squares, a couple of their combiners, but I sold them on MP scale. No, never gone to. I remember the first time I went round my mate Colin's house, and he showed me some of his MP size combiners. I think it was it MMC Bruticus, came out about 5 years ago, and I couldn't believe how massive they were at that size. But no, I don't have any. If I was going to get one, I probably will get a Bruticus or a Combaticon.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been like, I can't tell you how many Predakings I've got. I've actually got quite a lot. It's a problem. But I don't know. I like a different aesthetic, but I've been a little critical of MMCs as well, and I realise I haven't owned an MMC combiner, so I don't know if I get the right to say this. They've gone for the all-in-one feature. You know, there's no parts forming. Hands are inside the figures. But I remember looking at their Bruticus, and the feet just looked really stumpy to me. And they released an upgrade kit for it. Which
I got the upgrade kit.
Yeah, but it's like, well, hold on, your feature is all-in-one, and now you're doing an upgrade kit for it. Again, I don't mind upgrade kits. I think it can really add to the figure. It's just, if that's what your target is, buy our combiner because it's all in one piece, great engineering, don't get me wrong, it looks great. But if he's got tiny little stubby feet come the end of it, it will stand out, sadly.
I mean, I have the Toy World Devastator
Ooh,
the
nice
box
figure.
set, you know, the one that they're releasing, the big box set.
Yeah.
And I personally feel that the individual robots on that, they look more chug than Masterpiece. But once it's combined, it does look
Big
like
boy,
a
isn't it?
Masterpiece.
That's,
Devastating.
to me, that set the standard for combiners. I think. You look at some of the true Masterpiece scale, which you throw the Zeta combiners up there, Toy World Devastator. I've got the Kang Toys Predacons. They're all of that much. They're Titan scale, really, what they are. That's the only thing that I'm a little bit worried about with the MMC Protector bots. Is I think they're going to look fantastic, and I think there's a slot open for Defensor because I don't think anyone's nailed Defensor. But my concern is it gets all done, and then it's like it looks too short compared to some of the others. And if it is a bit, I know it's not on the scale of, say, a Fans Toys or a Zeta, but would it look that much smaller? Would it really stand out? That's
like I said, that Toy World Devastator, it does scale quite nice because, I mean, I've got a photo somewhere where I've got MP36 Megatron stood next to it, and it's a good scale size, you know, compared to the Toy World Devastator. You know, it does scale up, and I think the X-Transbots, you know, when they get finished with their Devastator, I think it may be slightly bigger than the Toy World version, because I did some comparison shots with their, you know, of their big load versus whatever Toy World version was.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I got this guy in robot mode, and I put him up against MP36 and how much he's really quite close. So I think this is going to be a big set. But what do you think, Lee? I mean, you got it in hand. You've had him in robot mode, and he stands very big, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Onslaught is considerably larger than the Limbots on the Bruticus, and this figure is similarly considerably much bigger than the Limbots that we've had out for the Protectorbot so far. I mean, I haven't actually put it into the combined mode because of the problem I've got with it. So I couldn't tell you how tall he stands compared to the Bruticus. But I reckon he's going to have the bulk at least, even if he hasn't got the height.
Yeah, I think the thing for me, I get very funny when it comes to scale of the individual figures. That was one reason why I like the Fans Toys ones, because they said before they announced the skeletal frame that all 5 aerial bots were going to be much the same size, and they in the cartoon they more or less were. Silverbolt didn't completely dwarf them, where I like to feel like Onslaught was a fair bit taller than, say, Swindle. You know, there was a fair bit, and the same with Hotspot. He was a fair bit taller than First Aid. But when Fans Toys said all 5 of the aerial bots are going to be the same height, I thought, okay. And with the Constructicons, you often find Big Load, Long Haul, he's the big boy because he makes up the torso of Devastator.
Have you got the Hasbro or Takara Unite Warriors or Combiner Wars Devastator?
No, but I have had it in hand before, and that always surprises me how big that is. But he's a very chunky boy.
They called it a Titan, didn't it? As well,
yeah. Long Haul is massive. He is wide, massively wide, and big thick boy.
Yeah, he's how we like our Constructicons.
He's all thigh. That's what it is. He's all thigh because he's got
childbearing hips. Great childbearing hips on him.
We see that's the thing that puts me off Defensor, is the big, you know, the big upper arms. You know, you've got the really wide upper arms and then like little skinny forearms, you know, that drop down from it.
If it's crazy though, like
bothered me. Even back in G1 days, that's bothered me as that.
But in G1 days, can you remember when we used to get our combiners? Like you'd literally get their head and turn it like that and plug them in. And like no one blinked an eyelid.
I'm still getting flashbacks of my I got G2 Superion where my slingshot head is still in Silverbolt's shoulder because it was gold plastic. So it went in, snapped right off, and he's still there.
Get a G1 slingshot and then just spray gold. Job done.
I thought when MMC did their hotspot that they may have sort of like done some collapsing mechanism on the upper arms, you know, just to slim them down a bit.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. What I do is I do not put combiners in their combined form until the combined set is complete. I don't like to kind of spoil it, if you like. But when I get hotspot, because it more or less can stand as a combiner on its own, can't it? Because you kind of stick the limbs on to the frame that is hotspot. I'm tempted to put him into combine mode just to kind of see what I'm looking at. And go, oh yeah, you're yay tall. But I normally, like when I did the Kang toys, I did that in a review, and I got them all in their combined form, and then I assembled them, which I think is as much a fun as the rest of it. But
I like the individual bots to be good toys as well as the combined mode.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hasbro's Predaking, that is a really good combined mode. Unfortunately, the individual bots are just upscaled versions of the G1 toys, so they're not proper chug. They don't have the proper articulation or anything.
I mean, when you see I've got them here, like you think, yeah, that's okay. Look at this monstrosity on the back of it, though. That is
he's all thigh.
He's all thick thigh on the back
back.
of it. He's baby got back. Look at that. Look at that.
Is that the Hasbro one?
Handle. Yeah, it was the Power of the Primes.
At least it had elbows.
Yeah, and so does that long Hot Link Prime or whatever, the one you showed, the Hot Wheels one yesterday. Long forearms and long elbows. But yeah, I've said this, I'll die on this hill. Combiners are triple changes. I'll stand by that. And when it comes to triple changes, one mode suffers. And I think that is even applicable when it comes to combiners as well. You get very few that nail all three modes. The Zeta aerial bots, the robot modes look quite terrible. The play modes look quite good-ish. The combined mode is what they targeted. They said, we're going to make a nice combiner. When it comes to fans toys, I think the robot modes look really good. I think the jets look really good. We will see how the combined mode looks. But, quite often one mode suffers.
I mean, if you're going for the anime accuracy, the anime models of the combined robots are not that accurate to the actual toy. So it's the problem you have. It's a problem you have where you have a stylized drawing. You're trying to make a three-dimensional object incredibly accurate to this two-dimensional stylized drawing, which bears only superficial relation to the toy that it was advertising in the first place. I don't mind having exoskeletons and just plugging the combiners on if that's going to give you a decent robot. New Age Devastator does that, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I do not mind that at all.
Yeah, I think if it looks good in its finished mode, I don't think it matters how it goes together. It's just if you get a good representation of that character, then so be it.
Yeah, I find why do we not have another go with non-traditional combiners? A modern team bullet train. I'm not getting what Dave means there. Bullet train?
It's a GoBots robot base, Andro.
Sorry, Did you say GoBots again?
Yeah.
We're back on GoBots. My God, what is this? What is this? I
back.
do not want my live streams to be known as GoBots the show, the secondary Transformers the show stream, the
Bullet
bees
train.
stream. I'll bullet train. Thank you,
They are
Dave.
mighty.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, you're going to get me on a rant now, but talking about trains and train combiners, that absolute dumpster fire of a Takara Raiden combiner, the masterpiece scale combiner. That just looks utterly awful. I said at the time, I think I was on the show, Paul, it's the same height as Legacy Menasor, the Stunticons.
And
this was a
Studios
6
done one,
bot
didn't
set.
he? And I ordered it, and it got lost.
You
and
did?
We had to chase.
I was wondering what you did with that, because I remember you.
Funded. I never bought it, and then everyone just started selling their Moon Studios combiners like everywhere. Everyone was selling them, saying they're not that good. I don't know. Did anyone here pick it up? The Moon Studios Raiden.
No, I know. I think Rudy did. I don't know if he ever combined it because he wanted to keep it in train form. But everyone who I know has handled it They said it's just as fine as anything else. Maybe, it stands well enough. Maybe I think they say the plastic's maybe not as good because Moon Studios is Zeta by another name. Let's call it for what it is. But yeah, they say maybe the plastic's not as good, but otherwise it stands fine. But if you want, it's a 6-bot combiner set. It's got to stand big. It's got to look big. And when the Takara Masterpiece one said, fine, we're going to do combiners. We'll do a Japanese train one because they like to appeal to the Japanese audience first. Fine. But 6 trains, yes, they kept it to like a 00 gauge, which is Hornby. I understand. Fine. Yeah, they want to keep in keeping with that. But it's no bigger than a Chug combiner.
And of all the alt modes, like trains should give you enough scope to be able to do a fairly decent. You should have enough freedom with that to be able to do like good alt modes, a good robot mode, and a good combiner mode. They're just rectangles, basically, with a slopey bit at the end.
But they're packing an awful lot in those rectangles. I've not combined my Raiden yet because it got released as I was moving. So bots went to work, bots went in boxes. I've not actually had them all in the same room together. But I've ordered those repaint, so I will see what that extra waste bit does for it. To be honest, I'm not that bothered. I prefer having them in the individual bots. They look great as individual bots.
Just going back to today's point that you mentioned, the RID combiner, that was the 3 bullet trains that a lot of people, I had it briefly and I stupidly sold it on. I really wish I hadn't. But I was able to make, I can't remember the name of the combiner. Is that Rail Racer?
Rail Racer.
Yes, it was. But it was a nice one, a 3-bot set. Again, it was trains, bullet trains. They were quite long. You could do a lot with them. So yeah, someone else could come along and have a go. But I think of it, Computron doesn't get as much love. I've got the Mate Toys Quantron. That's one that I would like. The one that I've got, actually, I'll just reach and get one. And I've said this before to Alexis. This is TFC Toys stylized Terracons. They're quite sort of Chug scale. Whilst these are very stylized, I like it for this because this is Ripper Snapper. And if you look at his G1 toy, it's actually quite rubbish. He's just a standing shark. This gives him a much more of I like those red teeth, there's a bloodier vibe. He looks a bit more serious. And more or less, they're all like this. The thing is, it's been God knows how long. We got 4 out of the 5 bots done. We haven't got Hungar.
Really?
We can't make the toy. So there's not even a prototype. There's just all CAD drawings. So for a long time, I've got these 4 limbs I can do sod all with. The one thing that I can do is I can pay a stupid amount of money to go with one of these light toys torso kits that effectively 3D printed for the pricey sum of $333 just to combine them, just to have 4 in an Abominus set. But yeah, Mick, Satan at Work, that is the name of it. Satan, but it's been so long. But
what about if they'd done Fans Toys, and this would blow my mind, done the monster bots? So the ones which came with the Pretender shells, and they had, was it Firefly? Was the one I had, the monster, is it the monster bots?
So they did Dino King with the Pretender shells, and then they did do the monster Pretenders in...
Yeah.
That's the police coming to get you all for all this GoBot talk, by the way.
That's me.
Nice one. That's for all of you. They're going to arrest you all individually.
But yeah, I'd have that, the monster bots. Not what the Transformers called, where they were Pretenders.
The Monster Pretenders, that's all they were called.
Is that all they were called?
Yeah.
Them. Yeah. Firefly, that was it. I had Firefly. It was awesome. But if they had masterpiece versions of that and masterpiece versions of their Pretender shells, I'd be down for that.
I have a question about Pretenders. The Pretenders came along after I'd bailed from Transformers. But I'm still not sure. So you've got the likes of Grimlock's a Pretender, Bumblebee's a Pretender, Starscream's a Pretender. So when they're in their Pretender shells, are they supposed to be the same size as humans, or are they giants?
It depends which continuity you're in. So if you're Japanese continuity, when they enter their Pretender shells, they can be big with the armor and the weapons, but they can also shrink down and just live a normal life as a human and hide within human society.
Right.
If you're in the Western comic version, which is the only version that we got lore for, then they're just really big guys in spacesuits. It
Right.
wasn't because they were supposed to just cram this toy into the comic book. They didn't pay that much attention to trying to explain it.
No.
But then you had them go out into space where giant humanoids is perfectly normal, so they didn't stand out too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just got me thinking because obviously you had characters like Death's Head, who was a giant robotic bounty hunter, but then he had his run-in with the Doctor, and he was then shrunk to human size. So then, so I just wasn't sure, like I said, because I'd bailed by then. I'd stopped getting the comics as well by then, so, I
mean, if they'd appeared in the cartoon, who knows? Maybe they would have shrunk down. But as far as we've only got the American version where they didn't and the Japanese version where they did.
Yeah, because it was the same thing with the Target Masters and the Headmasters. I always thought it was a bit of a naff idea to have them as being humans or humanoid. To me, it would have made more sense for them to be robots. I think, which like they are in the Japanese continuity. I think.
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
Like, you're going to transform into a head for this transformer, but it's going to break your spine, your legs, your arms, and when you transform.
Well, that's what they said about the headmasters, wasn't it? Like that was a law in the comics because you never thought of it. Oh, you can be a gun, great, and then they transform up and they somehow don't break their spine and bones.
But in the comic, they actually showed them having the surgery before
surgery. Yeah.
So it was actually, if you were a kid and you were thinking about it, it was actually quite horrific because they're breaking bones and reorganizing.
Well, it was they introduced Spike, didn't they? Spike Witwicky into the comic by being the headmaster for Cerebros, didn't they? So
I don't remember him getting any surgery, so God knows how that went.
Parental treatment.
Converted.
But then
he's just a contortionist.
In the Rebirth cartoon. It shows you the Nebulons. Well, Daniel becomes he bonds with RC, doesn't he? And it's just like the head just becomes a cockpit, and he's inside the head cockpit, like.
Yeah, and then later on, they're taking off the armor like it's an actual suit they're wearing.
Yeah.
It's inconsistent. It's inconsistent.
Well, Transformers at that point was losing its popularity, and they were more just kind of throwing stuff out and not really thinking of it. What's Lee come out with? It's not a GoBot question, thank God. Do you reckon that Pretenders were inspired by the G1 episode Only Human? That's possible. I mean, it's very easy to think, what if the Transformers were human? And it's actually carried on in some of the comics as well. Like they have human holograms of themselves and their personalities shrunk down.
Didn't IDW do that one where Cyclonus was some kind of like Victorian woman or something like that?
Nanny.
The storyline.
That sounds really good.
Well, the Pretenders that we actually got weren't the original concept. Have any of you read the Generations book, the Japanese Generations book that lists every G1? Okay, they're in the back
I have
of that.
the book, but I can't read Japanese.
Yeah, but they've got the designs, the early designs. So Pretenders were like a rubberized shape that you put over the robot, so they could be like monsters or animals or Spartans and Romans and things. So they would eventually become just like the Easter egg, where you just put the bot inside and then close it up. So no, probably not. But it's interesting to think of maybe in lore they could have done something with that.
You could tie it together, couldn't you? Because I think even in IDW now, I think, was it Lost Light? And I'm going well off the topic that we were just talking about, but they had like what looked like Lost Light Captain Hot Rod Rodimus would look like, what Megatron would look like, and he looked like kind of Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid, I thought, when I looked at it.
It's effectively what the Transformers OCs would look like.
Yes, is pretty much that, and it's a nice what if to do.
But that's the
then
thing
you start getting
with,
ships.
When it comes to like headmasters, not the target masters, but like headmasters. So like you've got something like, I don't know, give me a name of a headmaster. I'm struggling here.
Hardhead.
Dragon.
Right, Hardhead. Excellent. Yeah, Hardhead or Chrome Dome or
Did you say Ewan McGregor?
Pardon?
Snapdragon.
I think you said McGregor. Like what?
Played by Ewan McGregor.
So so you've got them pre-binary bonding, So like say for example, Chrome Dome. Chrome Dome is his own robot. He's got a personality. He then binary bonds to whoever.
Stylor.
Is his personality lost? Because Stylor becomes his head.
Well,
it's like
the UK comics sort of delved into that because you had a whole thing with when the original Headmasters comic was reprinted in the UK, they had the secondary story by Simon Furman where the Decepticons were having trouble melding the personalities of the Nebulans with the Cybertronians. And that was sort of revisited later in a couple of other stories and in annuals where Highbrow was kidnapped by Scorponok and they were going to experiment on him. And that ended at Time Wars. They didn't explore it anymore, but it was something that the Marvel UK team were at least thinking about.
Yeah, because like six, I mean, they almost become. I'm borrowing a term here, but like Headmasters were kind of like, is it transectors? So it was like
transectors. Yep.
Yeah, it's like the like Chrome Dome's body is just stood there. Does it have any sentience? Is Chrome Dome's personality in the body?
No. So the little robots are the actual Transformers, but they left Cybertron and they found themselves on a death world where they struggled to survive. So the Transtectors are effectively just like big.
I get that, but I mean, in the example of the Headmasters, so like Chrome Dome, like say, is his own robot. He's his own person.
Does he lose his personality when he joins up?
So like you say, so Stylor is his own person. Do they fuse personalities and become one, or are they still separate individuals and they just come together?
It was always shown as they were separate individuals working together.
Right.
Yeah. That's my understanding.
But there was a thing where if the personalities were too opposite, then it was a lot harder for them to work together than if they gelled better. So Brainstorm and Arcana, they gelled really well. Chrome Dome and Stylor didn't.
I was remembering as well, I don't really go in for the Japanese continuity, but after the Western release stopped, after the Rebirth, the miniseries, and you went into the Headmaster series, they stopped being guns, the Rebirth. They started being like fused to their arms and they were like shooting out of their arms. And I never kind of got how that worked as target masters. How do you carry on being nothing? How do you just kind of, you're running along as a separate small robot mode, but then you transform and fuse into part of the main Transformer's arm? Felt a bit of an odd move.
Yeah, because I had the same thing with. I mean, it wasn't back in the day. I didn't read it because, like I said, I jumped off by them. But I have since read it, and it's when Optimus Prime is killed again, and he comes back through High Q, and it's like, well, it's not Optimus Prime, it's High Q, because they make Optimus Prime out of High Q, so Optimus Prime's essence or whatever you want to call it, soul, spark, is gone. It's
Again, they didn't really have time to go into it properly because they got cancelled. So it may have been that there was a plan to explore that because the other Power Masters hadn't gone through that. So maybe Simon would have had a chance to explore it a bit further. Who knows?
Unless
I doubt he remembers anymore.
Yeah, unless Ethan Zachary had another backup disc that he could have, transferred.
Oh, well, you can copy a floppy.
Copy a floppy. Let that be the tagline for today's stream. Copy a floppy. I mean, there's enough plot holes that we can look into, but I like to think, come on, you got 40 years worth of reinvested lore and adjoining series that you can say, did Only Humans lean into Pretenders? Did that go into the holograms of IDW? Did that go into Headmasters? Is there kind of that? There's enough material there to link it all together, and I like that. I like that you can kind of do your own what ifs as a result of it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can remember seeing when the Headmasters came out, and I can remember seeing them on the toy shelves and things like that. And it's a great idea. It's a cool idea to, that you've got a little smaller robot and then it joins onto a bigger robot or the Target Masters. So it's from a toy perspective, it's a great idea. And it obviously worked because there's people that do have fond memories of of the Headmasters and Target Masters. Yeah,
absolutely. I think
I like IDW. No, sorry, you go first. No, IDW's take on Pretenders was quite interesting, where the technology that Thunderwing had invented as environmental suits so that the Transformers could survive the impending cataclysm that the war was bringing to Cybertron, that then sent him mad and made him superpowered, was a good one. And that then Bludgeon and his cult of Decepticon Pretenders were trying to recreate the technology, but perfect it so it didn't send them mad. And Bludgeon being the only one who kind of perfected it. I think the Autobots managed to create a few suits so they could travel into the dead universe, but again, they sort of died off before they got out.
Yeah, I think there is plenty of stuff there, and things like that, as you say. You know, I like that. Yeah, there's a reason to it. You say, Ed, when you look at the toys, it's a cool toy. Now you've got to try and develop a story around it. But I like the idea of doing it because they have to survive, they have to coexist. It's a nice way to introduce it, which we can say now we can do because, as I say, there's 40 years worth of logic and lore there that you can pull on.
Yeah. And then in IDW, I've got the comics, but I can't remember the story. Was it Escalation or one of the where they ended up turning Sunstreaker into a headmaster?
Now I always feel this is Dreamwave, but it's not. That is early IDW, isn't it?
Early. It's when IDW was good. You know,
they made it proper body horror.
Yeah, it was a very deep turn, but I loved it. I like the idea of that kind of how traumatized. This is probably a long discussion for another day, but I love the idea of how Sunstreaker was just so traumatized by it all, and it was Hunter and Sunstreaker, and when they find him, like his head kind of together but hooked up, and he's just saying like, "Please kill me," and it's just like you never could. That's our first time of experiencing that. We were like, "Oh yeah, they're willingly giving their heads up to this alien race, and they can live inside their head rent free." And now Sunstreaker's being forced to do it. It's wow, I hadn't considered that, but that was brilliant.
Yeah, because didn't they? I'm just trying to remember the story. Because didn't they ended up cloning him as well? Didn't they? They were clones. Of him.
Yeah. They had lots of drones based on Sunstreaker's design.
Yeah.
But, eventually, Hunter was euthanized, but Sunstreaker's hatred of humans because of that caused him to allow the Decepticon surge.
Yeah, he wanted to make them suffer like he had suffered, which it showed a great bit of. Like PTSD, but there's a great bit of PTSD. There's no great part of it, but for a storyline, it was great fuel for it. And because that rolls into kind of the All Hail Megatron IDW series, which is still one of my favorite comic collections to read. Right, I think we'll start to wrap up the show for the evening. What I want to do is I go around and kind of go through you all and talk through what you guys have got planned coming up on the socials and things like that. So, Lee, I'll start with you because we spoke, didn't we, at TFUKCon, plans of a certain YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm doing my own YouTube channel. This is like the first YouTube thing I've done in a Transformers capacity. I've done professional wargaming stuff before. But I'm currently just waiting for some art assets to be finished because I've got a load of artists, some professional, some fan artists doing me stuff so that I can actually build a scripted, edited show. And as soon as I've got an idea of when that's coming out, I shall share it with everybody. I've sort of cobbled together this setup for tonight, but I am in the process of building a proper studio space that I can use to film things, take nice photos of my figures, have everything set up so I can do everything I want to. So that's my main thrust at the minute. But I'll still be taking pictures of stuff on Twitter and whatnot.
So the other photos of the sofa still going to remain, or are we going to have light boxes?
Well, I'm taking that sofa apart tomorrow so it can go out on the driveway because it's being picked up by the council next week. And I'm not allowed to have Transformers in the new living room. So it will be a proper light box setup. I shall build some nice tables like what Jamie's got, what Sixo's got, those sort of things. And I'll be doing proper nice photos.
And in terms of your YouTube, have you got a channel already set up, or is this that people can subscribe to ahead of time?
Not yet, no. I have, but I can't remember what it's called. because I've not actually been posting anything to it, so I don't know what it is. But everything will go up on Twitter, and then I'll share it in all the usual places once I've got everything ready. I've got scripts done. I've got props bought. I've got all the figures I could possibly want to do the thing with. It's just a matter of getting those last few assets and then getting down to the serious business of producing the show.
Fabulous. Okay, well, good. And thank you for coming on tonight, sir.
No, thank you for inviting me.
Ed, we'll go to you next. Obviously, you got quite a lot of things going on. Not stopping at doing some intro videos for my channel as well. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Now, you released a video just a few days ago, actually, of with me on it, our discussion around the collector's archives. But I understand you've got a few others in the pipeline working on. So what's going on with Vaults of Iacon these days?
Well, I'm not even supposed to be here today. I'm on my sabbatical. I wasn't coming back till September. I got pulled out.
Promises.
I got pulled out. Well, I've only got one more collector's archive video to edit now, and that's with Pete. I was supposed to be interviewing a guy called Paul, but I got sick of waiting for him. So I thought, right, I'm just
funny, isn't he?
I'm going to interview you, Ed. We'll do that instead.
So the collector's archive, the fourth and final season will be 3 episodes short. Unless I can find 3 other people to quickly chat with. But no, the YouTube side is kind of on a bit of a sabbatical for the moment. I do have lots of plans, and not giving anything away, but we've recently discussed one for September. So there is that. So it's just a case of just carrying on with photography at the moment and working in the background on some of these ideas that I do have, so then when I come back to it, it's all there ready to go. That's about it. Just quietly collecting, watching stuff, doing stuff, and just address something that Guzzy mentioned earlier on, the t-shirt. Yeah, this is my own design, and if you want one, I have a t-shirt store.
He's just like Alexis, isn't he? He's getting his merchandise sales in there.
I've got to pay for my collection somehow, haven't I? No, it's no, do a good, honest day's work for that. So no,
to talk around your photography, though, your Facebook page, your page, having 1,000 likes on it.
Yeah, that recently just clicked to 1,000. Which was nice. I'm, humbled and thankful and appreciative of all the followers and likes and comments and things. I'll be honest with you, it's not why I do it, but it's nice that people like what I do, and I do appreciate it. I just try and find new ways of doing things, and the content will keep coming. So, but yeah, thank you. And there's Facebook, there's Instagram. I do have a Twitter channel, but I don't really do anything with it.
Not the most active on there, are you?
No. So yeah, that's where I'm up to.
Excellent. What I'll do is when the live stream is finished, I'll put everyone's details to their social media followings in the description to the video, so you can all come out and check these guys. Paul, I'll finish off with you. We know what you do, of course, and that is giving people a place to go Friday nights. It does get said, but I don't actually think it gets said enough of the effort that you do, and that stretches back to you editing some of those early videos, setting up the subscription service so you actually do this stream, and you host it every night for 4 years, gave me a platform, which I abandoned you, as you like to say. I'll get that one in for you. But you do this kind of setting, and it leads, I think, the Facebook group that you have called Transformers the Show, which you allow me to post my videos on. I dropped you a message saying, was that okay to do so? And you gave me a thumbs up for it. And it leads to things like TF UK Con. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for the work that you do for the community, and it shouldn't be overstated, it does open a lot of doors for people to things like tonight as well. It's enabled me to do my own live stream, very much born out of yours. So thank you very much for your continual Friday support and everything that you've done.
Bless you. Thank you. Like,
and yes, you did abandon us on Fortnite because you don't play.
I almost went to play the other night. Almost went. I just
wait till birds are back
into
into
it.
it. Eagles.
In my job, so I love like anytime I get to do this, anytime I get to spend with my family is amazing. Also, anytime I get to spend with my Transformers family is equally almost just as good. And like tonight, like I said, Lisa, do you mind? I'm doing 2 streams. I'll do one on the Friday, one on the Saturday. She was like, "Yep, fine." So you need that equally supporting wife and kids as well, because it's a lot of time. Now, the best thing ever is just fucking doing live shows because you don't have to edit them. And since it's gone over to that, it's allowed me to explore more of what I love, which is editing videos. So I've done a bit more of that recently. Hopefully I'll do a bit more of that going forward. My favorite thing though is just editing, like when we go out and like meet up and go for drinks and chat, like not just last week at TFUKCon, but also just when we went out in where did we go? In Cookham, like near Windsor. Like
by Alexis.
Loved editing the video. Your wedding last year, like honestly, I was sitting here almost in tears, like editing the video. I was so emotional.
Paul actually was my videographer for the day and actually recorded my wedding speech, which I didn't ask him to do. And he said to me afterwards, I just wish that someone did it on my wedding, so I thought I'd do it for yours. Oh, God bless him. Thank you so much.
And also was harsh because mine was quite a lot funnier than your wedding speech as well, and that's why it really hurt. I'm joking.
You say that though? Was it though? Get any video evidence of that?
It was awful. It was rubbish. But yeah, no, just like if I get to doing that, I've done some stuff with Action Masters recently. I'm going to do more of that. I'm going to stop buying them though because they're fucking shit. And I remember that as a kid, and I don't know why I still done that. And I gave Rohan £40 for Devastator. Shouldn't have done that.
Oh well, he does love a reasonable price to Zaro.
He does, but yeah. So more of that, and the Friday night show, which I love.
Of course. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and everyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the likes. Do go and check out everybody here and their socials and their following. Do subscribe and do give them a follow. They're wonderful people, as are you, for all helping this community move on. But thanks very much, and I will see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir.